Important topic. What to do when you want to give up, when facing the hardships and failures of entrepreneurship. I implore you to call now, especially if you're facing hardships and you're thinking, maybe I should just dust up that CV and go back and take a job. 089-110-3377. We only have about 25 minutes with him, so you better start calling now. Are you currently considering to quit your business because things are hard? Well, Coach Bulelani is going to talk to us about what you do in those circumstances, and trust me, they face all of us by any other name. I'm not going to give you examples of names. And on the quickie, we have Alice Madisha, who also says her other name is Rams. She co-owns Smith and Madisha Construction. Beautiful to always meet a woman in that space of the world. That part where women have closed out doors for women. I can't wait to hear Alice's story. And then we have an opportunity with Fix Forward. We're going to speak to Joshua Cox, who's going to talk to us about an opportunity for you in entrepreneurship. And then we have Going Up, and tonight we meet Sayed Mia, CEO of Revive Southern Africa. They run a chain of spas, and we're going to hear about how they've grown this business to where it is today. We wrap up the show right at the end with taking your calls for you to advertise your business. You got 30 seconds to do so. Start preparing that script. We are on Twitter at Rams by the Horns, Facebook Metro FM Talk with Rams. The telephone number, start dialing now to speak to the coach at Bulelani Balabala. That's his Twitter handle. Do tag him. He's right here in studio. And we're on 089-110-3377. Balabala, good evening.
Good evening, Bra Rams. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
No, man, I'm very happy. It's been a beautiful 2 days into this new week.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, entrepreneurship is a beautiful.
It's real, mate.
No. Entrepreneurship is real.
You know, and I'm not gonna steal your show because this is your show. I had an opportunity to speak to young people over the weekend about starting own businesses. These are high school going young people. And I said to them, contrary to what people will tell you about recession and stuff, just look around. If you can find one small problem in your environment, you got one big opportunity to make money. I said, just go look around.
That's true.
The problem with these things called recessions and stuff is that we're all looking in the wrong direction. Somebody's always making money somewhere. You go to something now. I don't see any recession there because they're looking elsewhere.
That's true.
Where are we looking? Anyway, thank you for coming, mate, and thank you very much for your time. At the best of times, and it happens to all entrepreneurs, there are moments when things are just not going right.
Yeah.
There are times when you really think, I'm gonna give up.
Yeah.
I know that's your topic tonight. All over the world, they've come and gone. They've given up, they've come back. Some of them never came back. I want you to start by telling me, what are the factors in your mind, one or two, before we talk about how we solve it, one or two factors that make people find themselves in those moments where they want to give up?
So I think good evening to all our listeners. I think one of the things that we need to clearly analyze is simply this. Giving up, I mean, most of us as human beings, right? All human beings, I think at instance, in our mindsets and how our minds are set up, I mean, we're prone to giving up. Because, I mean, giving up rather becomes an easy remedy, right? Because it says you're going to get out of that situation and you won't even, experience the toughness or the challenges that come with the hardships that you're going through. And sometimes what then happens is that, especially when whether you're an entrepreneur or a professional or an individual who has gone through a series of different hardships, sometimes what happens is we then confuse the tiredness that we have experienced as a quick solution. And that quick solution really is giving up. And I'm not trying to water down the idea of people just really going through challenges, right? Because there are real challenges out there. But one of the things, that always stick out is a quotation that was said by a lady I met over the weekend to then say, the universe doesn't respect excuses. It respects hard work. It responds to hard work. It doesn't respond to excuses. And at the end of the day, most of us at the point where we want to give up, I mean, we have seen many stories from different people that were written off come back and become victorious because they didn't give up.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's really just working around the mindset, really just working around the routine, and really just working around the ecosystem that you have. Because a lot of us go through a lot of challenges, and we've often heard, and it's often been said that entrepreneurship is lonely.
Yeah.
And I really think that we need to start rethinking that, right? The networking events that we go to, the incubators that are being developed, the hubs of economic development that are being developed, I think they have to have a big element of them need to really focus on personal development and support for the actual individual. Because, Rams, you and I can agree, you really have to be crazy to want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and it's an amazing space. But I'm glad you spoke about this loneliness thing. I have reached a conclusion, and this conclusion was reached about 8 months ago. And I said, never again am I ever going to be in business alone. Speaking to the networks that you speak about, I don't necessarily have to have partners. But in fact, you could have a coach that you put on a retainer in your business, so that it's not a lonely space.
Yes.
But the retainer could be based on how much we earn. So if we're not earning coach, nobody makes money.
Yes.
But don't make it a lonely role.
That's true.
You don't have to be alone
That's
in
true.
this space.
That's true.
Anyway, let's talk about how you respond. You've got 5 points that you want to share with us about how you respond to the tough times.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we also then really need to clarify, right, is when we're going through tough times, I think it always goes back to the why. And I know a lot of people have heard this, right? Find your why, find your whatever, find your this, right? But your why speaks to your vision, and your vision really in essence is your motivator.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would say motivation is nonsense, motivation this, but it takes an individual who's most self-motivated for them to be able to move their life forward. As a wise gentleman who's a speaker, Mr. Ed Namriri says,
yes,
motivation is like taking a bath. You need to do that thing each and every day. But it's you reminding yourself each and every day of, why did I get in this? Because it's very hard for you to remember why you got into that relationship, why you got into that friendship when things go wrong, and why you even started that business when things start going wrong, when the business starts getting burgled, when the business loses its skilled employees, or whatever challenges that you may go through. It's very important for you to go back, right?
To the why.
Yes.
But does it matter how strong? Let me tell you why I'm asking this question, yes, which I have not even completed. But what if the why is wrong? Because then that makes quitting very easy. When your why was wrong. I always say to people who come to me and say, I think I can't stand my boss anymore. I want to start my business. I say, that's the wrong why.
That's true.
Don't. Just quit that boss and get another boss. I don't believe that you necessarily need to be starting a business if necessarily all you're unhappy with is your boss. Yeah. So when the why is weak, even if I revisited the why, I'm not going to get the answer.
No, that's true. Which is why in our second point, we're talking about you need to realign, you need to refocus, right? You need to re-strategize, you need to regroup with yourself. And regrouping with yourself really is you trying to understand, why did I get in this, right? And you really truly understanding and analyzing, because much of the time when we go through hardships, we really feel like shattered glass.
Yeah.
And we split up in different pieces when we're all over the floor, and it doesn't seem like we'll ever come back together, right? But one of the things that we understand is what you're raising right now, that some of us really go into business for the wrong reasons. And it's you understanding, because entrepreneurship at its best, it is not the cleaner who was the best cleaner in company X, Y, and Z, who thought they were making money for company X, Y, and Z, starting their own, thinking they were going to excel.
Yeah.
Now cleaning becomes 10%, the passion becomes 10% of everything. Now you're being overwhelmed by technical duties, invoicing, administrators, and relationships.
Like, as a cleaner, you didn't have to worry about keeping relationships with anybody. Now you're the boss.
Yes,
you got to keep relationships with other people.
And that's when it really, and I think for me, that's when it really becomes really tough. So I think in our second point, which is really regrouping and re-strategizing, it really goes back to that, because we go in happy and excited, but during the process, we then end up becoming very bitter. It all starts smooth. There's enthusiasm, there's joy all around the room, there's celebration. But somehow it then twists into bitterness and anger. And I really think the biggest thing is to always maintain that joy. There's one quotation that says that you need to own your peace. You need to own your joy, because that is the one commodity or that is the one product that you will never ever find out there. And you need to make sure that you take ownership of it and you keep it, and you don't take your piece and you give it to other people. You don't take the piece and you put it to the business. And what we have then done is we have taken all of our powers and we have put all of our powers into our business. And we are now no longer custodians of the business, but it's now a vice versa. Now the joy then flies out the window.
We're on the coaching class. Bulelani Balabala. Bulelani Balabala is the coaching class. He's giving his all. He wants to hear from you. 089-110-3377 on Twitter. At Bulelani Bala. At Rhymes by the Horns. We'd like to hear from you. Are you in that space where you're about to give up? It's looking terrible. No income coming in. Employees not delivering what they should deliver on. Everything is going wrong. Or actually, have you already given up? Let's talk. What is it that we could have done differently? The coach is here in the house, and he'd like to hear from you. He'd like to share with you insights. He's no minnow. This is a guy who just recently was coaching 36 contestants who were vying for R1 million to build their businesses. So at least he can put a lot of weight, pardon the pun, behind his advice. So we'd like to hear from you. 089-110-3377. I hate cliches, Bulelani. As a rule. Yes. I always fight with people when they use cliches, because I like, but what do you mean in English? Now, when you say find your center, that already sounds like a cliche to me. What do you mean by finding your center?
So I think for me, so I kind of looked at my life, right? And I really think, to everyone out there, everything that I'm mentioning now is really an opinion piece and stuff that I've used in my entrepreneurial journey and stuff that I've advised that has gone well. And when I say to people, find your center, I mean, find your spot, right?
Yeah.
Your center could be a person, your center could be a place that you go to, but find a place where you regroup with yourself. Find a place where, when you enter the place, I mean, some people, I mean, we have read a lot of articles, amazing articles about different people, and whenever the question comes up, how did you keep inspired? How did you keep yourself moving on? They'll always reference back to something that they do, which is in the form of a routine or a space that they go to, which inspires them to really create. And I really think that it's very important for us to always find this, because that is where we come back to, that is where we really piece back into our knowledge, that is where we really piece back to understanding. Someone else says, when I wake up in the morning and I pray, that brings me together.
Yeah. So that could be anything. So your center could be jogging, could be church, could be, in my case, golf. Yes. Could be anything. Could be your partner, as in your life partner. So you need to find something that you fall back onto to regroup and say, I know why I'm here. I'm not going to give up tomorrow.
And you know what's funny? I think quite recently I found jazz. I never thought.
Welcome to the club, man. Young man, welcome to the club.
I never thought, but I found jazz to be very refreshing, and it really helped me replenish, because I went to one jazz concert, and everyone has got their own thing, but everyone must just find whatever their center is. And whatever you find your center to be consistent in that center. So you find a working formula, and you stick to that working formula, and you expound on that working formula, so that you can always come back to who you are. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you've got 4 to 100, 1 to 100 or thousands of employees looking at you for advice, looking at you for guidance. You're a leader at home, you're a leader in the office, you're a leader in the community. And one of the things, it's that statement that we always see going around social media to then say, check on the tough ones, check on your strong friends. Yeah. Because no one expects a Rams to collapse, no one expects a Rams to break down. But in this life, which is tempestuous, anything could happen to anyone at any moment and at any given point in time. But being able to position yourself and put yourself in a space where you found your center, you consistently re-energize yourself. I mean, even if it's watching other people in your industry that are industry expert pouring their hearts out, watching their failure stories, because there's a lot of failure in this space, in this game. And failure is almost guaranteed more than success, because you know that you're going to fail. Yeah. But it's what you do at the end of the day,
089-110-3377. Find that book of a guy who failed and came back again and again and again. When the tough times come, read that book again and remind yourself it's not a lonely game. Terry, good evening and thank you for calling. We're good, Terry. Thank you for asking. How are you? We're all ears.
Hi, hi. Yes, yes.
Mm. Yeah.
Wow.
Terry,
No,
thank you very
so
much for the call and
Thank you.
go for your dream, Terry. Sooner than later. Benjamin, good evening. We good? Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Thank you, Benjamin. We'll come back to you shortly. Happy, good evening. Eitara, Eitara. Talk to us, Happy. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Thank you, Happy. I'm going to ask you to listen on the radio. These are tough questions, Bulelani. So I'm going to do you a favor. Think about them. We'll come back just now.
Thank you.
Absolute presents One Source Live. Celebrate the power of African.